just before Halloween, I uploaded a new cartoon to the Distorted Dogma channel. And if you're going to watch this video, I suggest, if you haven't seen the cartoon, you go over to the other channel and look at it, because this video is all about that video, or at least the making of that video. When I did that cartoon, I did a lot of 3D moves and use of the virtual 3D space inside the program, and it's raised up a lot of questions for me from other sites, not necessarily from YouTube. And I thought I'd address those, and I'm going to do it by doing stuff that I've never done before. So this will probably be heavily edited. Please be patient with me, because I will lose track of what I'm saying, or I will start to meander, and I only have just so much time on YouTube to get this stuff done, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. The first thing, this is the software that I use, Animate Pro. It's made by ToonBoom. You can find it at toonboom.com. If you're just starting out, you don't want to spend a lot of money on it, you can download the free version, which is a full version, except when you export your cartoons, it is got a big watermark on it, which goes away once you buy it. Now, onto the cartoon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a piece of the actual clip from the cartoon, and then we'll go over that part. There's only two scenes that I'm really going to go over, because they're really the only two that I use the layers that I'm talking about. And we'll show you how we layered things. So first, this is the opening sequence with the trees and the house and the clouds and the sky and all that good stuff. That was the establishing shot for the where this takes place. So let's watch that now.
Once upon a midnight dreary.
Okay, welcome back. So now you've seen what the scene looks like. Now you've seen the scene. Behind me here is the scene as it was shown in the camera. I have the sound turned off so you won't hear anything, because it'll run smoother. But you'll see as the scene starts to move, and we'll work our way through the different trees as we're going to the house. Now see, right now, what you're seeing is this gray area down here is actually not in the camera. If you click on the camera, you'll see this purple line come up. This is actually the camera view. There. This is all the camera sees. So as this moves through the trees, as the camera moves through, why the camera is not seeing some flaws in the scene, like this gray down here and the purple of the end run of the sky purple that's down here. None of this is being seen by the camera, so you don't have to worry about it. And as we get in near the house, you can see sky showing down here through the trees, which is why this last set of trees is there, just to block some of that. Because of where the camera's placed, the camera never sees that. The trees get in the way just in time. Going back to the beginning of the scene, the way this was done, now I have to change views. Go to the perspective view, which this is really cool. This is the virtual space I'm talking about. The grid on the ground there is just a layout grid. And what you're seeing are the different layers as I layered them in the program. So here you have the background layer. This is the moon and the clouds here and here. You get the first set of mountains, the second set of mountains, and then 6 or 7 layers of trees, and the house standing there all by itself. So that as the camera moves through, back and forth, through the trees, it appears like... So now we're going to change scenes, because we're going to go to scene 2 and look at the inside of the cabin.
Whilst I pondered, weak and weary.
Hi, so that was scene 2 out of the cartoon, and I have it up on... I'm running along here, so I'm going to have to move along pretty quickly now. I have this up here, and here you see the background of scene 2. And as I run the sequence by dragging it through the timeline, you see the room as it appears in the video. Now this has got layers in it, and it's got some layers that you might not expect in it. I didn't have a chance to look at this in the perspective view, so let's take a look and see. Yeah, here we go. Now this is actually backwards now. We're looking through, you see the leg there. But there's the back of the fireplace. There's a black background. Over here is a black background that I put there just in case there were any leaks. Here's the inside of the fireplace here. This is the hearth there. In front of the hearth is the fire, which you see in the inside the fireplace there. You see there's a space there. The hearth is larger than the whole of the fireplace, so that as the camera moves around, why you don't see around the edge. That's part of what I was talking about before when I said sometimes you have to shuffle parts around. That happens in this sequence in one of the other scenes where the camera moves side to side and you started to see around the fireplace, so I very quietly in the background shoved the back of the fireplace across. Normally these bookcases would have been three-dimensional for me, and the fireplace may have been three-dimensional or at least been off on a different plane, but for this video I left them all on one single plane, and then there's a hole in it. Now that I've got the camera I've got our view set at this angle, you'll see that the leg is nowhere near the rest of the body, and there was a reason for that, which I'll get to in a minute. Now, as you notice, in the perspective, we're in the perspective views, but if you watch the foot actually kicks way out, and it doesn't do that in the film. And the reason it doesn't do that in the film is because in the video, the camera's moving, and as the camera moves, in order to keep the leg looking like it was in the same place, it had to move. One of the best reasons for doing all these layers in the 3D space, especially if you're not going to pass through them like we were passing through the trees where they become obvious why you need them, but in a space like the room here, you're not passing through anything. The only thing that happens is the camera backs away. Well, in real life, as you moved away from something, why the background would get softer. And as you notice in this view here at frame 60 in this scene, why all the bits of the fireplace are all in focus. The logs are in focus, the flames are in focus, the bricks in the fireplace are in focus. Everything's pretty much flat because the camera's pretty close. But I'm going to jump ahead. We're in render mode again because that's the only way you can see this. I'm going to jump to the end of the scene, about frame 205. And as soon as it catches up, you'll notice what's happened is as we've moved backwards, all of this has gotten softer. The fireplace has gotten softer, the fire, the picture, the bookcases. Even the leg has gotten a little bit softer because if you remember, there was a big space between the leg and the chair. And the chair is still in sharp focus, and that creates the illusion of space, 3D space, in 2D cartoons. So you'd have to redraw all of that softer and softer and softer if you didn't layer them like this, if you wanted to get that same effect. So, I don't know if I covered everything I wanted to. I don't know if anybody got the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil on the fireplace. I don't know if anybody noticed that this picture up here is actually the girl from the old 55 cartoon. She was the girl in the window, and when this turns around and you're looking at the door for the Raven, the coat rack that's there is from the doctor's office on the Mume cartoon. So I'm dragging parts with me as I go along, and parts of this stuff will probably show up in other cartoons. But that's it. I'm sure I'm out of time. If not, I'll add some more. But just in case, that's what the 3D looks like. A lot of this, if you don't know anything about Animate Pro or cartooning or layers or any of that stuff, this probably sounded like a lot of gobbledygook, and it is. But that's how it's done. So, any more questions? Send me a note, and I'll address them. In the meantime, we'll catch you next time. Bye.